Good morning, Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video blog for the 12th of September 2017. What's happening out there? Irma has become post-tropical over the southeast United States after a devastating landfall in Florida and bringing hurricane conditions to a wide area. Storm surge flooding here in Jacksonville and up in Charleston yesterday. Very heavy rain and power outages all throughout this region. Just an unbelievable event. Yes, it could have been worse, but I think we will all settle for what happened just fine. Thank you very much. It was bad enough. So now we have to focus on the potential of some impacts from Jose, a Category 1 hurricane right now as of the 5 a.m. advisory. And for the next several days, it's going to do sort of this clockwise loop and then move off to the northwest with time. And at the very least, it will generate swells that'll radiate outward towards the southeast coast. And once again, surfers are going to really like that. But anybody swimming and enjoying some time at the beach, you need to be very mindful of these breaking waves and the larger surf conditions overall, plus the threat of rip currents will be strong. And so we need to monitor this very closely. Most of the model guidance curls this around and then generally turns it out to sea somewhere. You know, we'll have to see about that. You never know if that ridge is going to be a little bit stronger. We remember very clearly with Irma that the models tried to bring it up, maybe kiss the coast of Florida and then up into the Carolinas. There was a time when the models brought it up and turned it out to sea. But the patterns change, and so every one of these is different. We will certainly be watching it closely. The infrared satellite picture indicating quite a bit of some shear over the system as it's dealing with the pattern change after Irma has moved through, but very, very deep convection overall, and it'll maybe weaken down to a tropical storm as that shear persists, and then as it does that loop, we go back to the map, you can see that it is expected to become a hurricane again after weakening, and it could be fairly strong. The water temperatures in this region have not been stirred up, and they're still quite warm, and so this could become, you never know, it could become the 4th Category 3 hurricane of the season. Looking at the overall guidance from the 6Z package, generally speaking, most of the models bring it west-northwest with time in this envelope over here. It'll be interesting to see what the later model data shows. Cape Hatteras is just a little bit to the west of 75 degrees longitude, and of course that line runs right up in here to the Delaware Bay, near Cape May in New Jersey. And so, you know, we just have to see, does it actually make the turn around and go out, or is there a chance that it could come back and actually clip the coast up here somehow? That's not out of the question, and we certainly know how these models have been, even the last 24 hours of Irma, the difference between where it made landfall in Collier County versus had it gone farther to the west by another 50 miles. Well, in that case, it would have been an even worse disaster than what we're dealing with. But the point is, the model guidance is just that. It's guidance, and there are errors in the forecast periods out at, especially at days 3, 4, and 5. So just keep that in mind. And the GFS ensembles, all the different runs of the GFS with different variables to give different outputs, sort of playing what if. And you can see that the general shape to the envelope here is a curve away from the United States. One of the members of the ensemble group brings it real close to or just over some of the islands off of Cape Cod, you know, maybe Nantucket or Martha's Vineyard. And then there's a good deal of these models that bring it into the maritime region of Canada. And so we certainly need to watch that for our friends up there in Newfoundland and in Nova Scotia. But you know, we're talking several days out, and we know how this can change. And a lot of it's going to have to do with how much ridging is sitting out over the Atlantic and how large that balloon of air, if you will, is or is not over the next few days. And if we look at the GFS from the 0Z run last night, I'm sorry, this is the 6Z run, so this is the morning time run. There's the leftover energy of Irma, and then here is Jose over here. This represented at the 850 millibar level of the atmosphere, or about 5,000 feet up, and it shows the spin and the vorticity, and you can see that it's fairly tightly clustered in there, indicating to me that it is a fairly well structured system, much smaller overall than Irma was. And as you can see there, let's speed this up. You can see the track that it takes. It comes around and the ridge develops out to its east. And then it looks like it's going to try to just go around that ridge, which is centered right over here, and move up the backside of it safely out to sea. But we don't know that that is exactly what's going to happen. And a lot of this, clearly, if we get this ridge to build over the top a little bit more and a little bit more to the west, then this could come up more to the west. And conversely, if this ridge is weaker or shifted farther to the east, then Jose can come up clearly between Cape Hatteras and Bermuda. And by the way, this does not seem to pose a direct threat to Bermuda, which is hanging out right there into that wind flag right there. So it'll be between Bermuda and Cape Hatteras, more than likely. But we'll have to just wait and see, right? We know how things can change, and so we will be on top of it. All right, that's all I've got for now. Heading back home to North Carolina from Florida, where we tackled Hurricane Irma, and wow, what an experience that was. Now the cleanup process begins. It's going to be very slow, and the patience of everybody is going to be essential. I know that's easy for me to say, but there is a long road ahead for people down there that were impacted either by the wind or the storm surge or a combination of the two. And we wish you the best of luck from those of us at Hurricane Pro and HD, and of course myself with HurricaneTrack.com and all of my colleagues. We take this very seriously. We empathize with what you're going through, and we have your back. We really do. We want to keep providing with information on the rest of the season ahead, because it is not over. We are just now getting into the peak time, and we still have roughly halfway to go. All right, that's it from me for today. Again, Mark Sutton with HurricaneTrack.com, and for Hurricane Pro and HD, I'll have more for you tomorrow.